Welcome back to Tarot by the Band, David. Okay, recording this on Wednesday, December 3rd, at about 7 p.m. Pacific time. Looks like I record my videos about 7 p.m. Pacific time. I will finish this one, upload it, and it will go live at midnight, December 4th Pacific time. 3 in the morning for my insomniatic friends on the East Coast, or first thing in the morning for any European fans out there. Or if you're in Australia, it'll go up at 4 in the afternoon on Thursday. Your UMT is brought to you by -8. Anyways, a little joke there. Interesting stuff in the news. I'm going to touch on these readings here. The first one's going to be Pete Hegseth. I did my reading on Hegseth like the last 2 days, and in my reading, I was getting the Ace of Cups and the Three of Cups, and said he's drinking again. And on another spread, I was getting that it's like I saw that he was probably still using the a signal or something along those lines. It might be that he's still doing that, or with the news today that an inspector general just released their report or submitted their report to Congress. And I believe it's a classified report on Hegseth's use of signal when they were doing the attacks on Somalia, I believe it was. And he accidentally invited a newspaper or a magazine editor to the Signal chat, as well as his wife and his brother-in-law and a bunch of other people that didn't need to be on it. It could be that the cards are telling me that with Hegseth, not only has he done this latest thing with the boats in the Caribbean, but now his drinking is going to come back into play. Now his Signal chat's coming back into play. And we just had that IG report that came in and basically flat out said that he put U.S. lives at risk by doing what he did. So I want to read on Hegseth, both with the Inspector General's report and that there's new information that the Pentagon did know that there were survivors in that strike, and they were authorized to do more attacks. Taking you back, just remember, it's not even been a week, I don't think, since Mark Kelly and others put out that PSA about not following illegal orders, to which Caroline Levitt, is one of the few times I'll use a slur on somebody's name, was out there just indignant that no order from the president or Pete Hegseth was ever illegal. So therefore, Mark Kelly and these others are committing sedition, and they need to be, according to Trump, publicly executed to disobey orders from the top. And then Hegseth basically says, yeah, that's fake news. That stuff never happened. And in less than a week, not only do we find out it happened, but that Hegseth was in there watching the strikes happen. And every iteration of his story is either has lies in it, fabrications, falsehoods, or leaves something out. And then more information comes out, and then it exposes that the last story was not accurate and deceptive. And it's happened numerous times now, and here we go again. There's even more. So I want to look at Hegseth here and see how he's doing now. More stories coming out, and again, it's undercutting his whole narrative that he had nothing to do with this. Literally, the walls are closing in on this guy. And then I'm going to look at Hegseth with the IG report, because it's going to, you're going to bring up that old thing with Signal? Huh. Why would we want to talk about that? Come on down. Pete Hegseth. No good, really rotten, horrible, very bad day. For entertainment purposes only. Foundation of the reading is the Queen of Swords. This guy's run out of. He's run out of runway. There's nowhere for him to turn. He is looking to throw anybody under the bus to protect himself, and there's nowhere he could turn. He's like he's in a room. He's surrounded by mirrors. Everywhere he looks, there he is. And now he's done. He's going to have to resign. He's going to have to resign or be fired. How do you want to leave? And underneath it all is the King of Swords. He came in wanting to be almost a meme of like a 1980s war hero type thing. 1980s, 1990s, Rambo war hero thing. And he's going to leave a fool. It's his own toxic masculinity that caused this problem. And there's the situation right now is internally he knows he's going to have to go, but underneath it there's going to be somebody with the axe that says that somebody's going to tell him you have to go. Right now it's implied he knows he's toast, but underneath it all the steps are coming. Somebody's going to come in here. In the past, lying, cheating, stealing, breaking the law, just doing whatever he wanted to do with impunity. And he's sloppy. That's the problem. This dude is sloppy. And it's getting him in trouble. Whether it's Signalgate or this, he's sloppy. Current situation is the King of Cups. I don't think he's handling it well. I think behind the scenes, he's probably an emotional mess, and he might be imbibing more with this. But I don't see him as being emotionally mature. He does not present that way. So that tells me that he's, emotionally panicking right now. Overarching energy is the Knight of Wands. Okay, that's interesting. One of two things. This could be I was just following orders. Trump told me what to do, and I was carrying out the thing that he wanted. But we all know that following orders isn't going to fly in this. The other thing that could be happening here is he could be trying to negotiate right now with Trump and the Trump administration as to, there's like a talk as to where do we move this guy? Because Trump loves him. He's casting central, and he's the exact look that Trump wants for his Secretary of Defense. So maybe he's looking for where can I move this guy so I don't abandon him. The lesson to be learned is the Page of Cups. He's getting demoted. He's getting a big demotion. So even if they do move, he's either going to be kicked out or they're going to move him. But wherever they move him to, it's going to be multiple steps down from the Secretary of Defense. This would be like deputy assistant to somebody or another. Not a chief assistant. It would be like 2 steps down. Something a little bit more than a glorified coffee boy type of thing. Outcome is the 4 of Cups. Cups. I don't think Pete Hegseth is going to like what is being offered to him. The options are going to give him he doesn't like. And again, with all these cups are emotions, but the cups can also be drinking too. And we know he's got that problem here. No, he's gone. This dude's career is over. Now whether he gets back on Fox and Friends, who knows? But his longevity in the White House is now going to be measured in days or weeks, probably weeks. Is that just basically what's going to have to happen is as more investigations come up and more things go on, you're going to find out that how incompetent this guy was, how much of a boob or a buffoon he was, and he's just a liability. And he deserves that. because that's what he did. Now, with regards to Signalgate, the Inspector General's report has come out, and it's classified, if I'm not mistaken, but it's also, I think, it's just going to confirm all the stuff that we knew about, but now it's basically going to confirm it, interviews people. Now, mind you, from what I remember, and I believe Aaron Parnas had this on his channel again, Hegseth did not sit down with the Inspector General to answer the Inspector General's questions. He wrote down to the best of his knowledge what happened. All I gotta say is this. Chicken. That's an insult to chickens everywhere. I've known much braver chickens than Pete Hegseth. Why wouldn't you sit down with the Inspector General? No, I guess because we've just watched what happened with the whole Caribbean thing, and every time you come up with a story, poke holes in it. Inspector General's report. Let's take a look. How damning is this of Hegseth? What's the energy around this report? Oh, interesting. Page of Cups. Same card that was up there. Page of Cups. Something's rotten in Denmark. And it's basically dumb, immature, stupid things that you did that you thought were cool. And the people that you brought into it. It's going to get him kicked out. Stuff that should have been kept secret was secret. Stuff that he thought was buried is being uncovered here. What do we have with this report? It's foolish decisions being made. It's all coming out, and I think this is also going to be one of those things that's going to get Pete Hegseth kicked out of government. I think by the time the Armed Services Committees digest this report, they've got one recommendation they're going to give. This guy had no business being in that position. He's a drunk frat boy. Get him out of there. Underneath is the Four Swords. This report's going to have information that we don't know about. Probably there's some more top secret stuff that they're not going to release, but they're going to know more things that happened with Hegseth. And there's probably more, rumors or other stuff that's in there that we don't know about. Okay? That shouldn't be a surprise. In the past, we got the Fool card. This report is probably going to look at just, foolish decisions that this guy came in. This could also be the initial report just coming in, and they're going to go all the way back to the beginning with him and just map out everything that he did. And I think that's kind of where I'm going with it. We know Hegseth's a fool, but I think this report's going all the way back to the beginning and going literally to the beginning of that thread and figuring out how did this Signal chat even begin with? Who was involved with it? What were you doing before this? The prelude almost to this problem here. Current situation is the Three of Cups. I think part of this report with Signalgate, what they're going to find out is he's still drinking. He's got people invited in his circle that don't belong in there. Overarching energy is the Six of Cups. Yeah, it's just like, he's like Trump. He gives gifts to his family and his friends. He's got this naive look of what a SecDef is. He has this Hollywood tough guy image of what it should be. But there's a naivety with him. As seen on TV. Lesson to be learned is the Five of Wands. And this is, probably Hegseth got away with stuff. It could be a lot worse. But I think that this report is going to show all the potential things that could have happened. And that, he got lucky and dodged a bullet that these things didn't happen here. But this whole attack, if they were to do another attack like this and Hegseth was involved, there would be U.S. casualties in this one, because it's like the foreign governments now know to monitor those things. It would almost be like if Russia or China or somebody had hacked into that and they're watching this and they're like looking like, this can't be real. This has got to be a bluff type of thing. Kind of like the editor of the newspaper did. And then he's finding out, no, real time, no, this is really happening. And, so they couldn't act like the foreign countries, foreign intelligence agencies couldn't act on it then. But it's like, oh, wow, this guy really has no security, no operational security around him. Let's keep monitoring him from now on, because we can start believing that this guy is just a clown when it comes to secrets and security. Outcome is going to be the hangman. They're going to recommend they're going to recommend he be terminated. He's the fall guy. All comes back to SecDef. You can try and say it was the intern that invited the reporter on there, but it doesn't change all the information. Hegseth is trying to say that, oh, I just declassified it on the fly, kind of like Trump tried to do with the stolen documents in Mar-a-Lago. That's not going to fly. Maybe they won't imprison him if he's lucky, but his excuse isn't going to fly, because there's proper ways to do things. And those guys on the intelligence committees and the oversight committees, they're not gonna buy it. This guy's just too much of a clown, and he's gonna be gone for that. Yeah, they're gonna I don't really know if I need to throw much more on this one, other than does Hegseth, what's the overall benefit? What was the lesson to be learned from this? What's the 30,000 foot view thing with Hegseth, with Signalgate and his ordering strikes in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific? Little four-carder. We'll wrap it up there. Judgment. It's waking people up to what's going on here. Wheel of Fortune, and there's more of it going on. Temperance, calming things down. Nine of Cups. Yeah, it's waking people up, and it's bringing Hegseth and the Trump administration down. People don't like the toxicity. They want it to come off, but there's more of it to come out. And, what do you want for this country? Do you want things that are best for people? This thing is helping. This thing is absolutely helping here. And again, now here's my detoxification. Hegseth needs to get to detox. He needs to be in rehab, something fierce, because of his behaviors. But it's also waking. Remember, and I just said this on my live with Shauna. It's not just those 80 people that died in the Caribbean just to help Hegseth get into rehab, but it's waking up the world. This is reminding the world that even the United States is not perfect. The United States can commit war crimes. Is this the world that we want? Do we stand up to the biggest country in the world and tell them to stop? This is unacceptable. That's kind of the big picture lesson here. And it's going to take the U.S.'s standing in the world and really knock it down a few pegs. But you know what? Maybe that needs to happen so we're not the biggest bully in the room. Let some other kids stand up to the bully. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. This reading is for entertainment purposes only, but I hope you found it insightful, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.